Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is Transfers Live, although I feel like I'm saying Jay here for full-time Devils because Gaz Drinkwater is with us. It's old school reunion tackle. Gaz Drinkwater, how are you doing, brother?
Pleasure, my mate. It's always good to be here.
Yes, if you don't know, well, I'm sure you do. Gaz was like one of the main presenters on Full-Time Devils, but he left us to go and work for other stations, including that there, BBC. You can hear him every night, weeknights on Radio Manchester, BBC Radio Manchester, talking balls. You can also hear him.
No,
what?
It's called Total Sport.
What? Oh,
we've changed the name, we've rebranded, and he's got it wrong.
I know you're not allowed to say this, so I'll say it. I prefer talking balls. I think Total Sport is horrendous, but I'm sure it wasn't your decision, and like the good presenter, solid professional you are, you'll go with it. Also, unless you've changed this one, you're on the Devil's Advocate as well.
I am indeed.
Right,
yeah. I massively disagree with everything Jay's just said there, by the way.
There you go, you see. We've loads to talk about because Manchester United, right, guys, I want to start getting into it, yeah? I just don't recognise my football club anymore.
Why?
Right. We needed a goalkeeper, right? We needed to change the goalkeeper, so we did. Right. There was a Champions League winning midfielder that the manager wanted, so we went and got him. Yeah. We needed a striker, so we bought one.
It's weird, isn't it?
We've got a defender who never plays for us, who we needed to get rid of, so we have done. What is going on? And it's not even, the season's not even started yet. What is going on? I don't like it. Where is the 37-year-old striker, right? Where is the loan move from a kid from Burnley? What is going on, Gaz? Where is the summer-long saga for a Barcelona midfielder that is never going to come to us? What is going on?
I always thought that I was a Man United fan since birth.
Right.
But with all this that's going on now, you're right. It's not the same Man United anymore.
It's not my
It's almost like we're a proper football club.
I know, don't say that. Don't use that language on this channel, please, bro. It knocks me sick when you say that. I don't like it, right? I want to see us making a deadline day £50 million bid for Che Adams. Che Adams, right? I mean it. If I don't see something like that, then I'm done. I'm done with Manchester United. And you can clip that up and quote me.
The worst thing is,
right,
it still might happen. Like, I wouldn't put it past him. I genuinely wouldn't. I wouldn't put it past. Anything could happen.
there's still that like last minute move for Arnautovic or something that just make you go, what?
What's Falcao up to nowadays?
Like, do you know what I mean? Someone you thought had retired, someone like Cavani who ain't got a club anymore. We'll go for him. Even though, to be fair, Cavani did have a decent job. Igalo was a great one. Igalo was a great one, wasn't he? We liked him when he got here. His socials were great. But don't tell me, right, when we went in, I know the answer. When we went in with him, you didn't have to do a little Google to remind yourself what he'd been doing for 2 years.
Yeah, of course.
And don't tell me, right, like me, you didn't go, hang on a minute, last time he was in the Premier League, he didn't score for 18 games.
I didn't know his first name.
Did you think it's like Madonna? You know,
like Prince?
Yeah. I remember, right, being disheartened when we were with Josh King. I was like, Josh King, man, what's going on here? And then it was like, we're not getting Josh King. Oh, that's him. We're getting the kid that isn't as good as Josh King. We're getting the kid that Josh King kept out of the Watford team.
You know what, right? You know what, mate? Right. In 2 years' time, when Ten Hag has built this unbelievable squad and we're winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues and trebles and all that, we'll look back at them days and we'll go, they were funny, weren't they? They were funny.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember what happened with Fellaini and Baines? Didn't we bid 36 million for both of them and then ended up just signing one of them on deadline day for 37?
Which is above his buyout clause.
Something like that,
That lapsed by 2 days.
Wild.
And the weird thing about that was the manager that had signed that buyout clause was now our manager.
Wild. Honestly.
Those were the days where we bid for Fabio Cantrao at 10:30 on a deadline day night, and Real Madrid went, no, because we can't buy anyone to replace him because there's no time left, you morons.
Didn't he start crying because he couldn't come or something like
that? Probably cried when he thought he was coming.
Yeah, probably.
I miss those days, you know.
Yeah,
I miss it. I miss everything about the old school United. It feels like we're entering a new stage. Get involved in the comments and the chat anyway. We're all getting giddy because the latest news is that West Ham have agreed a fee of £30 million for Harry Maguire. Maguire has not had a great time of it, let's be honest with you. After the first couple of seasons, which were quite decent, he's not been getting in the team. He's been getting booed by his own fans. I don't agree with that, by the way. And he's now what? He's seen his mate at left back leapfrog him into the centre back position. Luke Shaw's now preferred. So there's loads of stories doing the rounds. Here is one. Gaz, how's your reading?
About a key stage 2 level, but I'll try my best.
Stage above me. Go on, read this.
Yeah, well, West Ham, they'd offered £30 million on Monday for Maguire. That sum has now been accepted. So he's made just 16 Premier League appearances last season. I can't believe it's that low.
I know.
That's 16. That's unbelievable. Maguire also, of course, relieved of the captaincy earlier this summer. His contract runs until 2025. He wanted to stay, fight for his place at Old Trafford, but Gareth Southgate has indicated that a lack of playing time at United could impact his international career. Now, that's according to The Athletic, and I totally get...
Tell you what, if Joe Smith is watching this, that's how it's done. He even cut out some of the guff, didn't he? he edited that. That was I'm not patronising. That was top tier.
It's almost like it's my job.
Yeah, you literally went. We don't need to know about this bit. I'll just summarise it. Get the key points in.
Well, that's it. But honestly, I agree. By the way, that for him, if I'm Maguire now, no hard feelings. No, it's fine. You've gone to United. You've had a big money move. Let's remember that if he played in Gdansk, we'd have an extra trophy.
I said this in a short day. Do you feel that? Because that was the narrative doing the rounds, wasn't it? He was having a great season. He got injured, which is quite rare for him as well. He don't get injured that often. And we missed him in Gdansk. And also, that goal that Villarreal scored was a textbook. Maguire would have dealt with that. Yeah. I think it was a cross on it, a corner, and they scored. I feel like Maguire, it's become fashionable to hate on him.
Of course it has.
It's a tapping, isn't it?
It's easy.
If you went on this channel or anywhere else, you went, oh, Maguire's rubbish, no one's going to argue with you.
It requires no sort of thought to it. You can just say that Maguire's no critical thinking is required.
Yeah,
you can just
and
say,
everyone will go, yeah, you're right. You know, if you do a tweet like Slabhead needs to go.
But it's become a meme, hasn't it? As well, it's become a meme, and all the kids share it. Like the TikTok audio, it's like Harry Maguire, and everyone shares it, and everyone finds it funny. And we're forgetting about the fact that he's a top centre back. Yeah. He's not a Man United level, or in terms of the way we want to play, he don't fit our system. Just go, man. It's fine.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it'd be a good sign of West Ham. West Ham as well. It's easy to dismiss them. They've got European football. They won the Europa Conference League. They're a big club. They are history and all that. You know, there's not many clubs that have got the history of West Ham. Decent fan base. I've not been. You've been at London Stadium, haven't you?
No.
Have you not?
No,
I've been at Upton Park, and Upton Park was a right little cauldron. But they've got a big stadium, decent academy. Although it's a little bit overrated, this whole academy of football thing to go on about. Like
they won the World Cup, didn't they?
Yeah, they won the World Cup. Yeah, all on their own. Bobby Charlton, Nobby Stiles didn't have anything to do with it.
Do anything.
Forget all that. Yeah, Gordon Banks didn't even turn up.
Never heard of him.
It was all about. Who was it? Martin Peters, Jeff Hurston.
Well, you were around in '66,
I know,
weren't you? So
I know, but I just started my first job. I couldn't get the time off work. It wasn't always on the telly. It was very vague. We had one telly in our house as well. Do you know what I mean? Little black and white thing in the kitchen. Loads of people in the comments as well. Someone saying I talk fast. Sorry, I'll try and slow it down if you're a bit thick. Not that you are. Gaz, bring back that social media rundown you used to do.
Twaman.
Right. Can I just say, right, I will have Gaz Drinkwater on this channel as many times as he will come on it. We love him, right? And I love being back with him. We are never having Twaman back on this channel. He can do whatever show he wants. He's not doing Twaman on this channel.
Twaman was a show that was so offensive, it lost us viewers.
Subscribers, right? We used to have, I started taking over. We used to have a graph of subs, right? It used to go up steadily. And then when Gaz did Twaman, right, it went like that. Like literally, for 3 days, we lost about 2,000 subs. And then we were trending for about a week. I remember being once going to my phone was going berserk because Gaz had done a joke. And it was all the thing was as well, right? I'm not just saying this in Gaz's defence. It was all jokes.
It was a joke.
That weren't centred at anyone. He wasn't punching down, he was punching up. But people like had this thing of let's be outraged at what he's doing. And do you remember the old man thing where everyone got the wrong end of the stick out?
Yeah,
and that was just like,
let's not get into
let's not get into it because we'll just end up losing subs again. So listen, Gaz on this channel, yes. Twaman, no.
Do you know what this is? It's the wokerati coming for me, Jay. They can't handle it. I'm going GB News next.
You're the day I see you on GB News is the day I'm going to get back on the drugs. Seriously. If I would sit on GB News and Gaz Drinkwater's presenting, I've
had 2 pints here. All I've eaten today is a croissant.
What's going on? Hey, Gaz is going. I tell you what, wokies are everywhere. Hey, it's all the wokies getting us. Yeah, right. So Maguire goes to West Ham.
Yeah.
Wish him well. Let me ask you a question. Maguire comes back to Old Trafford. Does he get a polite applause?
Of course he does.
Does he get booed? Does he get cheered when his name's shouted out?
No, he gets an applause.
He gets an applause.
He's not going to be like, Maguire, way! It's not going to be one of them. It's going to be like, when would they say it, Maguire?
Yeah, I think so.
He's not going to get booed, is he? If you're going to boo Harry Maguire, I'm sorry, but you just need to grow up. You need to learn how to support a football team, in my opinion. Because if you go and watch your football team, you support every single player there who's wearing red. It's as simple as that. Unless one of them has done some dark stuff off the pitch,
yeah.
You know, you back your man. I'll cheer Harry Maguire as long as he's wearing red.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever booed a United player. And I've seen a lot of players. I've seen Carrick getting booed for doing a backwards pass. I've seen Giggs getting booed. I think Rude got booed once for missing a penalty, I think. So yeah, it can happen. But listen, time to move on. Also as well, just one final thing. A few people have been saying this. 30 million quid. We spent 80. Can't believe we've had the way they sort of look at it money-wise at a club as well is when you pay money for a player and you have seasons out of him, that money you've spent goes towards that. So you're looking at it going, okay, we've spent 80 million on him. He's played for us for 4 years, whatever it is. They were recouping 30 million, so it kind of makes sense all round. It's not like, oh, well, we can't believe we didn't get the 80 million back. Part of that 80 million was going towards the games that he's played. And he has played a lot against United, not recently, but I think he got to 100 games in like 2 seasons or two and a bit seasons, and it took Eric Bailly 5 seasons or something stupid to get
That's
there.
a good way of thinking
seasons.
about it.
So just to, not that I'm defending anything the club does, but just to make sense of it all. Right, let's move on anyway, because the other, sorry, one sec, we've got a comment, super chat from Damien Ahipini. What's the latest Greenwood? Do you think we need to get another striker regardless? The Greenwood situation, I've covered this extensively in my news, is we were expecting an announcement before the first game of the season. I think Simon Stone from the BBC did an article last month, and Simon's uber reliable, and he was saying like United are expected to make an announcement by the Wolves game. The Wolves game is Monday. We're now on Wednesday, so they've got 4 days or 3 days to make a decision. 4 days, sorry, to make a decision, make an announcement. I don't know which way that's going to go. Do we need to get another striker regardless? I think United should be buying another striker. I don't know what's going to happen with Mason Greenwood, but we'll have to wait and see.
I reckon there might be a squad number announcement as well, possibly, before the start of the season. I don't know that, by the way. That's not a source or anything. But I just kind of think they're going to come out with there's a few numbers that are available. I kind of think they'll come, and one of them will obviously be Greenwood's number, and then coinciding with that, I think will be some sort of.
We're going to find out, aren't we? We need to find out whether you want him back or not. We need to know. The manager needs to know who he's got playing for him. Let's move on anyway, because there's other transfers for other outgoings. Bid rejected. Gaz, you're the expert on this. Read us through this one.
You ready for this?
I'm waiting.
So, £30 million bid from West Ham was made for Scott McTominay. So, turned down, but United value him at more than £40 million. Eric Ten Hag would ideally like to keep hold of him, and West Ham have now seen a £30 million bid for Southampton midfielder James Ward-Prowse also accepted. Now, McTominay, I find it interesting that United seem to value him higher than Maguire.
Yeah.
I was, in my head, when the double offer came in, was it 60 million initially? Yeah, 60 million. Yeah. I would have been happy with 80 and let them both go. Right. And I think that sounded fair.
On that front as well, though, and I don't know why this is, but from what I read, even though West Ham have bid for both players, it's a separate thing.
Right, okay.
So they've said, we're not doing this together.
Right.
This isn't like what you just said there, like 70 or whatever million for the pair. It's 30 million for him, 30 million for him. So United have gone, yes, please, on the Maguire one. I think some of the Maguire thing might have been his wages, because he's on a lot of money. And everyone got a wage increase last season for United because we made Champions League. So I think that there might have been a bit of movement there. With the McTominay one, no. 30 million, no. Now, people look at it and go, well, we spent 80 million on Maguire. Why are we not? But Maguire's 30. Maguire is nowhere near the first team, really. He's 4th choice, isn't he? Centre-back. McTominay, 5th. McTominay is probably 2nd choice midfielder. If Casemiro gets suspended or he's out, McTominay's in, isn't he? He is. He has been. Recently.
He has. My problem with Scott McTominay is...
Talk to me.
I actually think he's underrated, but... Having said that, I don't necessarily think he's the right player that Man United need right now. Firstly, I don't think he's a player that comes in for Casemiro. I think he's a totally different type of player.
I'll give you that. He's a different player, but I think he has been played in that DM role.
He has, yeah, and he shouldn't be.
You're right.
Honestly, it sounds mad. And we've seen it happen a few times last season, to be fair. I think it happened in the Carabao Cup once or twice. McTominay, if you need a goal, put him in number 10. Right, it sounds mad, but the guy
started off as a striker, didn't he?
Yeah, he's got an eye for goal. He will do unbelievable things for West Ham. He will be a top player for West Ham. And in a few seasons' time, everyone will be like, "Ooh, why did we let McTominay go?" He's not quite this level. He's still a phenomenal footballer.
I think as well, like, we're probably looking at going 30 million for a player that came through the academy, didn't cost us anything. Just take the money and run. But you've got to look at what other players go for as well. Like, other players nowadays, 30, 40 million don't get you anything. It doesn't. You've got a 26-year-old, like you're saying, played 39 times for United last season. So he played a lot of games in a team that finished 3rd and won a trophy, and he played his part in both of those things. So it's not like he's... And also, you point out that, I don't think he's a DM, I agree with that, but he can play there. He can play as an 8, he can play in a 10. He's a player that, despite only being 26, has played a lot of football for a 26-year-old. So, and I always think McTominay, I think he might be rated a little bit higher by certain clubs, not everyone, than he is by a lot of United fans. I think he's a player that clubs can look at and go, okay, he could do a job for us. He could do a good job for us. And if you look at West Ham midfield, I'm not sure who they've got in their midfield, but obviously they've lost Declan Rice. Is it Souček and the other kid as well? like, I think Scott McTominay could do a decent job for him. If you get a player who you're going to bring in, who's going to play week in, week out for you, who's probably got at least 5 years, if not 6 years left in him at the top level, then 40 million is not beyond the realms of possibility. I think it's going to end up, if this does happen, in between the two. I think it might be 30 million plus add-ons or 35 million. The James Ward-Prowse one's interesting, but people look at that and go, James Ward-Prowse absolutely fires in free kicks all the time. You know, he's an England international, the rest of it. But he's also, I think he's 30 in James Ward-Prowse. I think he's getting on a bit.
Maybe this is a mad statement.
Let me just check that. Go on, you do your statement.
I think Scott McTominay.
Oh no, he's 28. I got that completely.
I think Scott McTominay is as good as James Ward-Prowse.
There you go.
I think I just think that. I just think it's the different teams that they're playing in. I think Scott McTominay, if he goes West Ham, I think he would be considered better than him. And he's just not quite had the opportunity to show that. Having said all that, people are going to be like, oh, you're defending McTominay, you want to see him play for Man United. No, I don't. I think Man United need to be looking even better than that at the minute.
Okay.
I still think he's a really good player and could be a really good mid-table Premier League player for years to come.
Okay, fair enough. James Ward-Prowse, a little bit older, 28. Scott McTominay, 26 years old, can play a number of positions. They've got the Ward-Prowse deal done. Also, as well, don't forget, it's a different situation. Like, James Ward-Prowse was destined to leave Southampton, wasn't he? From what we gather, I spoke to a few journalists recently, they all said the same thing. The thing with McTominay is similar-ish to Maguire. The club aren't actively looking to get rid of him, but if a right offer comes in, then he can go. So this isn't like Eric Bailly or Tellez or one of the players where you go and just get them out the door because they're never going to play for us again. This is a player where the manager's like, I can use this player. If he stays, I'm happy with that. But if the right offer comes in that helps fund other stuff, then we can move him on. So that's probably why another reason why United are holding out. Going to some more comments. Mark Platinum Bridge says, John Shin last week, Gaz now, bring back Bobbins. Do you remember? Was it Ray Bobbins?
He DM'd me, I think, on Instagram.
Did he?
Weirdly.
Oh, mate, we'll love to get him back.
Stephen
Holmes says, but you get guaranteed free kick goals with James Ward.
All right, yeah, well, and that is a thing, by the way. Like, if we're judging them, like, I think they're very similar in terms of quality. Like, maybe Ward-Prowse would have the edge because of that free kick.
Yeah, he's very good at free kicks, isn't he, Ward-Prowse?
For me, in terms of open play, I think they're both as good as each other.
Alan86 says, if we were playing Leeds every week, Scott would be elite, but we don't. Yeah, he loves a game against Leeds United. I think one thing will happen with Scott McTominay when he leaves. I think he'll be remembered fondly. I think people will look back and go, do you know what? He was a decent little player for us. Didn't cost anything. Came through the academy. Always gave his best. Let's have a bit of that.
We wouldn't remember him fondly.
Go on.
That girl from that Leeds United TV video.
Oh, mate, do you remember that? I love that video. We were talking about this the other day. It was that when a lad, right? We talk about this all the time. There's a Leeds United channel called Let's Be Having You, I think they're called, right? I know this because I've watched this clip about 1 million times, right? I'm not even exaggerating. I used to wake up in the morning, right, and watch it on my phone. And they had like all these different Leeds United channels, and they all got together on Zoom. So like the old school full-time Devils previews. So there's like 4 of them in there. United playing Leeds at Old Trafford during lockdown, the first Premier League game for 16 years, right? They're so excited. Like, they all can't wait. There's a build-up for an hour, and they're all going, well, I hate these, the filth, United, I hate them. Just what, I can't wait to get to Old Trafford. I can't scum. We're going to do them. Yeah, just hope we turn up. As long as we turn up, as long as we don't like, you know what I mean, just keep it tight in the first few minutes and really get at them. We've got a chance of winning this, right? Just going on with themselves like the morons they are. And there's this couple, like, I think they're from the channel Let's Be Having You. There's a girl and a lad. And the game kicks off, and within I think it's 2 minutes, United score. The lad loses his head. Fucking hell. Starts effing and jeffing, right?
Sorry, when you say losing your head, though, like we all lose our head when we're watching football and our team concedes a goal. Yeah. There's losing your head and there's losing your sanity.
He loses his head at first. The first goal goes in, right? He loses his head, and then he composes himself, right? He's got that, like, 2% in him just to go, right? And his missus like, come on,
calm down,
we're live here. Calm down. It's only for early doors. We can still get back in the game, right? So he's like, oh, I can't believe this is happening, sort of thing. A minute later, Scott McTominay scores again. My man's gone. He's gone. He's gone. And he's swearing, he's throwing his arm. And his missus, right, realises I ain't going to calm down, just shuts the laptop. That's the end of that. That's the end of that live stream.
I hope she's all right.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Do you know what? I've checked social media and that's she's fine.
Just drop us a DM anytime.
They're still doing the channel bizarrely. But it was one of them where you're like, oh my God, what is going on? That was a meme if ever there was a meme. That clip did the rounds for years. I'll have to dig it out because I love it. Right, McTominay, he's going. Probably, not definite. Maguire is more or less done. Another one on the agenda, Fred. Pass to Fred. Gaz, do your bit.
Right, and because these are in quotation marks, I've got to read it word for word, right? Okay.
Professional.
So this is what Romano has said. He's reported the developments on Fred's potential departure. He says, negotiations will continue in the next few days. Feeling remains for Fred, who will 100% leave United. The Fred deal looks complicated. No agreement and in standby. United expect Fred's sale to advance next week. Sources guarantee he will 100% leave the club.
Well done.
Good reading, that one.
Very good reading, and also you stuck to the quotes. You don't want to misquote people, so
Probably
superb. It's a weird one with Fred because I like Fred, and I think his stand's risen over the last few years. I think people used to look at McFred together and go, not good enough. Even though we finished second and third of them, we're never going to get anywhere with these two. Fred could be a very frustrating player, but he was one of the few players under Ralph Rangnick who actually did okay, and we missed him when he got injured. And he has this reputation. He comes in, he does his job. He does a job for you. I think it was at the derby last season where he came in and did a very good job on De Bruyne. So he does a job. He's quite a popular guy. I think he's popular in the dressing room from what I gather from other players, quite like him. But you know he's not at that level. He's not at the level you need. He's a funny guy when things are going well. When they're not going well, he's the one you're looking at going, that's indicative. Remember those last 10 minutes against Spurs where he just constantly gave the ball away? And you're like, what is going on here? He's got that in his locker. I think it's time for him to move on. He's 30 years old. If we can get money for him, then let's make that happen. I think there was a talk of Fulham being interested. No, there's Galatasaray. Fulham being interested. United wanting around 20 million. He looks like he's going to leave. And I think he's another one who'll probably leave. Well, it says here, sources guarantee will 100% leave the club. And then also on that, Rasmus Højlund should take the number 17.
Oh, okay.
Shirt vacated by Fred. What was Andy Cole's first number, wasn't it? And then new round of talks, Fred permanent transfer with several clubs keen. So lots of stories doing the rounds there from reputable people.
I owe Fred a lot because I've been doing commentary on BBC Radio Manchester on Man United games for the last season and a half.
Right.
And it's because of Fred that I had my best line of commentary ever.
Go on.
So it was when he was getting loads of abuse. It was
Yeah.
that period where everyone was having a go at him. It was Ralph Rangnick's first game. And he scored a perler.
With his right foot as well.
Yeah, his right foot.
Crystal Palace.
And I just came out of nowhere on the commentary and I went, it's a red Fred redemption at Old Trafford. And I'm never going to top that. I realise I'm never going to top that.
Mic drop.
Peaked early.
Boom.
Thank you, Fred.
It's a red Fred redemption. Seriously. Class. That was the best performance of the afternoon by Gaz Drinkwater because United players fell off a cliff after 40 minutes, by the way. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I remember watching the first half of that going, Gegenpress.
Yeah, it's good.
This is what Stephen Howson's been banging on about to me. Gegenpress. Ralph Rangnick is the godfather of Gegenpress. Here we are. Look at it. They're loving it. It's brilliant. I've not seen football like this since Sir Alex Ferguson. Then the players went, forget this. Forget this whopper. I ain't got time for this. Just keep hoofing it up. Don't worry about this Gegenpress nonsense. He'll be gone in the summer. And he gave up with that down Sills. Well, not down Sills, but stopped doing it. And then that was the end of that. And by the end of it, we finished sixth.
What a season.
What a season. What a season. Right, there's all sorts going on in the chat. Someone has suggested, I want to find who it is because he's generated some discussion. Showbox Entertainment says, lads, what do you think to Jamie Vardy as backup 9? Prem proven and could still do a job from the bench, ? This has generated discussion, to say the least. Michael Hill says, I don't know if it should really sound, but I will do. Jamie Vardy's missus scores more than he does these days. Can't win a court case though. Someone else has asked him, someone else says, Gordon745 says, Jamie Vardy gets a grip please. So yeah, I don't think anyone is on the Jamie Vardy bus. Daniel Berry also says, no, Vardy link-up play is well off required standard. JD and Coke says Vardy, no. Jamie Vardy, would you have him at United?
Be funny, wouldn't it? That's my only input. It would be funny.
Do you know what, right? It was funny when he was at Old Trafford with Leicester, he was warming up, and then United fans were singing, Jamie Vardy, your wife is a grass. And he was laughing, and he gave a little, little acknowledgement, and then we took it, not we, but they took it too far, and started making comments about sexual prowess. Which was, she's a grass and, the rest.
Did you see the rumours that he might be going Saudi Arabia? Mate, she'd get him beheaded within 2 weeks. I'm sorry, but Jesus Christ.
Mate, stranger things have happened. Who knows with football?
Imagine Jamie Vardy in Saudi Arabia.
I'm sorry, right?
They don't do Blue Wicked here.
Like Agatha Christie thing was ace. I was proper into it, mate. I thought it was class. Colleen Rooney.
You know, I've taken that. Honestly, you take Agatha Christie into your everyday life. If you ever think like people are gossiping about you, tell the people that you think are gossiping about you like false information. And then once it gets about you, like, right, I know who it is.
Trouble is, right, I tell people everything about me anyway. No one cares.
Same.
Do you know what I mean? No one gives a toss about if my bathroom's leaking or whatever the other story was she did. Do you know what I mean? It was so like just frivolous nonsense, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know what? The builders have made a mess or something. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll sell that story to the Sun. And then the best one was where all the text messages came out, and there was one of her phones they couldn't get hold of. And she went, oh, she drops it in the sea.
Yeah, that's convenient, isn't it? Wild.
I love that.
Best thing ever.
Yeah, I've dropped it in the sea. Hit that like button, people. And if you're not doing already, subscribe to the channel. Over 2,600 people watching. We've not even got to 500 likes, and that is a disgrace. Also, we want to get to 800,000 subscribers because we're on 710,000 at the minute. So loads of people have been subscribing lately. Miss Man United says, your bathroom is bloody lovely. Thank you. She should know. It's my missus, by the way.
For a minute then, I was like, whoa!
Don't worry. I will be sleeping at home tonight. If that was anyone else, I'd have been in the garden. My clothes would have been on fire in the front lawn. No, that is my missus. She knows about my bathroom. Right, let's talk about someone else. Who's next on the agenda? Van der Beek. What a picture. Look at that one. Gaz, do what you do best, sunshine.
So, Van der Beek, United obviously paid 35 million quid for the Netherlands international 3 years ago. However, he's failed to make an impression in the Premier League, and not even the arrival of his former Ajax boss Erik ten Hag last year has turned the situation around. Van der Beek did start Sunday's final pre-season game against Bilbao in Dublin, but was replaced at half-time. He's one of a number of fringe players United are keen to move on, and that is according to Simon Stone from the ever-reliable BBC Sport.
Simon Stone is a legend, isn't he?
Yeah.
I love Simon Stone.
I like Simon.
His mate as well. There was a lad who, I'll tell you this story. I don't know what I'm telling you. No one will care, but I'll tell you anyway.
I care.
Thank you. Me and Joe had a nightmare when we went to the game in Houston. We were doing this thing, this like chat with Wes Brown, so we had to go through a different door. We hadn't picked up our press passes. We were going into the hospitality bit, getting in a kerfuffle. They wouldn't let us in because we had bags with us. And this guy rocks up and goes, "Hey lads, I can take your bags if you want. I've got Simon Stone's bag." So we went, "All right, nice one." Give him our bags. He went, "My name's Nick." Right, took his number. We got off, and then Joe went, "Do you know that guy?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "Do you know him?" "No." So like, he could have just made all that up. I've got Simon Stone's bag. All right, yeah, I'll take it.
Got it back, didn't you?
Yeah, we got it back, thank God. But it was just like, because he said Simon, we trusted him. Yeah. You know what I mean?
He's so trustworthy.
Yeah, Simon Stone is so trustworthy. The guy said, I've got Simon Stone's bag. We didn't check. We didn't know. He could have made it up. But we just gave him all our bags and equipment and went, yeah, sound, bro. Like, we'll get them later. And to be fair, we did. So big shout out to, I think his name was Nick Dawes, I think his name was.
Really should remember his name.
Yes. Also, in the super chat, Avin Singh says, yes, Gaz, I've been on Talking Balls a few times. Lots of time for you. Keep it up. It's not called Talking Balls anymore. No, it's called Total Sport.
However, Avin, you're always welcome on Total Sport.
Total Sport, yes.
Weekdays 6 till 7, Radio Manchester.
So, is this because you're doing all sports now?
We are doing all sports.
Right.
But, come on, it's Manchester, innit? Yeah. There's going to be...
So, if you're having people ring up, 99% of them are going to ring up about United and say, or maybe, you know, other teams as well.
Let's say 80%, shall we? Just to be nice. And then, then 19% Bolton.
Yeah.
And
no, all right, yeah, that's fair enough. Donny van der Beek, is it done? Is it over?
You know what? He's a weird one, isn't he? Because I still don't think we've fully seen what he can do at Man United. But he's another one where he's like McTominay, where I think the way that he wants to play, we've got better players that do what
Do you know what the mad thing is about Donny van der Beek, right? And this is arguably one of the most outrageous statements I'm ever going to make. And I'll probably get clipped up and laughed at. But I think he could be, right, a sort of squad player at City and get away with it. I think he's that type of player that if you've got a system where you're bringing him in every few games, certain games, he fits into it. Like he did at Ajax. He played, I know he didn't play fringe player, he played very well. Got him to a Champions League semi-final, Ballon d'Or nominee. He's the type of player where if it's a system that suits him and he's not got to do certain things, he can play very well. If you're asking a bit more from him, he ain't got it in him.
He needs a team.
At United, we need more from him than what he does, and it just hasn't worked out.
He needs a team built around him, and that is nowhere near Man United's level. It's same with McTominay. It's sort of a mid-table Premier League.
I think Donny van de Beek, if he stays fit, he's a good player. I just think the problem is he went to Everton, he had that low move, 16 games, he missed 8 of them.
Wow.
You can't do that. If you've got a low move to prove what you're worth, you can't do that. And that was almost his last chance. Then he comes back and then Eric Ten Hag comes in. You think that's his last chance now. This is his chance. His former Ajax boss. His best chance. The guy that managed him when he won all them titles, when he got to the Champions League semi-final, when he was a Ballon d'Or nominee. This is it. And he gets injured against Bournemouth and he's out for the season. And you're just like, I don't see a way back for him now. I think there's a player there, but he ain't a Manchester United player. He'll move on. I think he'll do all right if he gets the right move. Sociedad probably suits him.
Nothing against the guy either.
No,
I mean, he's not. It's not like he's not put the effort in at United.
No,
it's not worked. It's fine. It happens.
Yep. Let us know what you think about Donny van de Beek. He was a very popular guy, Donny van de Beek. He was one of those where he was like, loads of fans loved him. Do you remember? And it was like, we've got to get Donny van de Beek in the team. I remember when we played City, there was a big chant about Donny van de Beek going around the TRA and everywhere because he's warming up. Like, get him on the pitch, we were 2-0 down. He came on and he almost set up a goal for Phil Foden. And it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, but then do you remember like another horrific one? Do you remember against Watford where did we get beat 4-1 Ollie's last game?
He scored the last goal for Ollie, didn't he?
Well, did he score it or did he assist it?
No, he scored it.
Was it Ronaldo who assisted it?
He scored the last ever goal for an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
And he played brilliantly in the second half that day. He did, but no.
So SM says, blame him for being injured. He's just recovered and was brought back into the team when he was injured again. Not his fault. Scored on his debut. That's the problem. It might not be his fault, but he was injured on his low move to Everton. He was injured on probably his last chance at United. It's not his fault. No one's not blaming him. He didn't put himself in a silly position. But if you keep getting injured and missing your opportunities, and now you've seen the sort of the opportunity, I think the chance has moved on from him. And that on the Bilbao game, that felt like, I know we had Jadon Sancho and Wan-Bissaka and Eriksen, but it did feel like the Resis, didn't it? It felt like the reserve team, and it felt like that's why he was there. I might be wrong. I don't see him coming back. Oh, sorry, I don't see him staying at Manchester United and having a future. I think he's going to Sociedad. I'm going to stick my nose out and say he'll go. I think he'll go sooner rather than later.
Mine who probably brought up to fill in those midfield roles as well.
Yeah, Martin O says, I still like and support Donny wherever he ends up playing. Andy Like Stuff says, the Donny obsession was to many bored people. Hit that like button, please, people. Let's get to 500 likes. Also, if you're not doing, subscribe to the channel. There's a link in the chat. Let's move on anyway. What else have we got on the agenda, producer Ethan? Dean Henderson.
Okay, so Dean Henderson, United concerned that he could re-injure himself before the Forest transfer. That makes it sound like he's going to do it himself. I don't know what is he going to do, throw himself down the stairs.
Someone just said, yeah, it's not your fault if you get injured. Well, this is making it sound like it is his fault.
I was going to say. So apparently United are reluctant to let Dean Henderson join Nottingham Forest over fears that he could re-injure himself during a rigorous medical. Henderson was on loan at Forest when he tore his thigh muscle, still yet to recover from the setback. Now, Forest want to secure him on a permanent deal from United, but the Old Trafford club are worried that a strenuous medical could see the deal collapse if he aggravates the injury and fails the tests. That's according to the
that's a bit of a new one, isn't it? Getting injured in medical.
I've never heard that one before in my life. Right. So United are scared to let him go in case he injures himself.
Well, I think scared to let him go for the medical. Yeah, they're putting him on the rack. Do you know what I mean? We're just going to stretch you out over this torture device for the next 2 hours.
Some medieval.
Do you know what I mean? Your medical involves you basically running for 40 kilometres through this mud. Yeah, and when you get back, we're going to give you some weights to lift with your neck. I don't know what the medical is. I don't thought it'd be that rigorous, but according to United, they probably look at him, right? They've probably assessed him, and they feel he's not 100% yet. I'm guessing, or that he still needs a little bit of recuperation time, and they're worried that if he goes for his medical and doesn't go great, then he's not going to get his move. I kind of get it, right? I get the thing of being cautious. Now, I spoke to, I think it was Dharmesh Seth who said this yesterday, and was saying about Dean Henderson, and from Sky Sports, he was saying that I think the issue here is United want to do this low move as well, where we go, when he plays a few games, it's permanent, and Forest are going, nah. When he plays a lot of games, it's permanent.
Right, okay.
That's the issue. Okay. So United are saying, you have him, you pass his medical, you give him, he plays 5 games, he's yours. And they're going, whoa, he got injured after 15 games last season, whatever it was, or probably a bit more because it was January, wasn't it? We want him to play a full season or nearly a full season before we make the deal permanent. So it's a bit funny. He's been very unlucky, Dean Henderson. He got COVID, didn't he? He got long COVID at a time when he just about become number one at United. He didn't handle it very well. Spat his dummy out a bit when David De Gea was number one. Went to Forest, was flying, doing really well, then got that injury that kept him out for the rest of the season. Now he's still got these injury concerns. So whatever your opinion on Dean Henderson, and he's not exactly Mr. Popular after that interview he gave, I do feel a little bit sorry for him because I think it's best for all concerned if he went to Forest, moved on. Obviously, we've got Onana. We've been linked with other goalkeepers as well. He's not getting a sniff. And it's time to move on. Forest is a good club for him to go to. He's obviously done well there in the past, but there's still issues there.
It just makes sense.
Get involved in the chat and let us know what you think about Dean Henderson. Sweaty Ollie Legend says Turner's a 30-year-old American. Yeah, they've just signed Matt Turner. SCE384 says, but from what we gather, they want Turner and Henderson. Just on another, almost unrelated topic. What do you make of Arsenal's business with David Raya? Because they've got Aaron Ramsdale, who I thought they all loved. And they've got Raya in on this $3 million loan deal with a $27 million buyout clause or something.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's around that. I might be misquoting it slightly because I don't overly care about Arsenal. But it's just a bit curious, isn't it? Because you'd have thought David Raya would be going there for first team, to play in the first team. Yet you'd think Aaron Ramsdale was their first team keeper. Do you feel that, does that make any sense to you?
I feel like maybe they have a few question marks still around Ramsdale. I think maybe they're still not fully convinced about him.
He didn't have a good end to the season, did he?
It's good to have
that option
option
in. He had a couple
in.
of moments.
Well, let's say he has a few of those moments. You can bring someone like Raya in. If he has a couple of good games, he stays in the team. I think that probably Arteta's wanting that competition in the team, isn't he? Yeah. It's like, certain players. We've had loads of players in the past. Luke Shaw, prime example. As soon as a backup left back comes in, he turns into...
He becomes Carlos. Like Maldini's better younger brother, doesn't he?
Ridiculous.
Like, it's weird. I don't know many players that always need that little bit of motivation.
Yeah.
And it's mad because whether it was Brandon Williams, whether it was Alex Tellez, whether it was Tyrone Malacia, as soon as it looks like he's lost his place, Luke Shaw just absolutely turns into the best left back in the world. And yet, when he's not got that sort of someone breathing down his neck, he can put in performances where you're scratching your head going, what is up with this kid?
Because of Tyrone Malacia, Luke Shaw is the best left back in the world.
I'm not going to disagree with any of that. If you don't agree, then let me know.
Send death threats my way.
Yeah.
They're all welcome. You know what I mean?
Listen, we send them our way. We're in this together, guys, yeah? That's how we operate on this channel, as you well know. Right, Dean Henderson, we'll wait and see what happens. I think he's going to go. They'll probably come to some sort of agreement where everyone's happy. United don't want him, Forest do. That's the short and long of it. Let's move on. What's next on the agenda? Right, go on, son. You can do this.
The Maguire... I got it wrong with the first word. Maguire replacement. Romano claiming that United have a shortlist of 3 players to replace Harry Maguire. Benjamin Pavard is, of course, one of them. This fella who I'm going to pretend I'm an expert of, even though I only watched his YouTube highlights last night. Is it Jean-Claire Todibo? Is that the pronunciation?
I think so.
And I've never heard of this next one. Never heard of him in my life. Edmund Tapsoba. They're being considered as possible names to replace Maguire. Who the bloody hell is Edmund Tapsoba? Jay, can you educate me here? Because I've never heard of this fella in my bloody life.
Right, of course I can educate you on Edmund.
Of course you can. It's almost like he's got the Wikipedia page open.
No, I mean, almost, but I've just, it's all up here.
Right, go on, give me your knowledge, give me your knowledge, come on.
If memory serves, I think he was born on the 2nd of February.
No way, really? Wow,
I think so.
knowledge.
I think he's 24.
Wow.
He's from Burkina Faso, if I'm getting this right. I'm a bit rusty, I'm getting on a bit. Plays for Bayer Leverkusen, obviously. And has 35 caps for Burkina Faso, and he's got a goal as well. I don't know a lot about him. One thing I do know about any of these players is obviously Pavard's the one that most people know because of obviously the high profile. Sadibo's one that we've been heavily linked with recently. Is where I embarrass myself. Is that the kid from Nice?
I want to say Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, is that?
Yeah, all similar age. He's 23. How old's Pavard nowadays? Pavard a little bit older at 27. The thing with this is, the manager wants them, and I trust this manager.
Yeah.
And these are players that have been doing well. You can see why he wants them. These aren't players where you go, what are you on about? And I think that when you look at some of these signings, when you look at it, you go, okay, you're getting rid of a player who we all know needs to go, and you're bringing in a player who the manager wants, has got something to offer, and 27, 23, 24 have probably got at least 5 years left.
And they've got improvement in them as well.
Yeah,
obviously less so Pavard maybe, but the rest of they've got massive improvement in them. They're the perfect players that you have as your backup options, surely.
Yeah. Players
who aren't obviously as experienced or maybe as quality as the players you've currently got, but players who can get to that level if given the games eventually, and they will get games this season. It's like, gone are the days where you have 4 centre-backs and that's you done.
No.
Like, centre-backs get injured left, right and centre now.
Like City have about 10, don't they?
Yeah, I know.
Pavard as well played a lot of games for Bayern Munich last season. I think he played 43 in total. It's a bit like the Marcel Sabitzer scenario. People going, well, if he's going to leave there must be something wrong with him. I know Sabitzer got unlucky with injuries, but they've got such a squad. They've got so many good players. If you can get a player who's not past it from someone like Bayern Munich, there's a player there, isn't there, usually, and he won't be overawed at coming to Manchester United because he's gone from the biggest club in Germany to the biggest club in England. The other players, more up and coming, younger players, hungry, can progress. And I know it sounds like I'm just absolutely all over Eric Ten Hag. I love him to bits, but he's a manager who gets the best out of players and coaches players. Seen it with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, coaches him. Seen it with Marcus. It's like he wanted to work with him because he thinks I can get more out of you, and did. Even Luke Shaw. I think there's been an improvement in Luke Shaw, and I think you've got a manager who goes, look, here's how I want you to do things, and he works on the training ground with his players.
I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka's weirdly become the perfect right back to play the system we want to play. He's great counter pressing. Remember the Manchester derby at Old Trafford? Yeah. He was nutmegging people, and they went to press him. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Do
you know what?
Love Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
That is, you've actually you've given me a nice little plug there inadvertently. I didn't even realise that. But if you, bear with me a minute, everyone. I'm just going to put a link in the chat. I think that's the right one. I hope it is. Sorry, I put a link in the chat. Eve, just check that link for me if that's the right one. Yeah, it is.
For me, he has to be our starting right back.
Yeah, sorry, ignore me, Ethan. There's a link in the chat. What that is that's to a preview I did for Republic of Mancunia. I did the Aaron Wan-Bissaka bit on it. We look at all different players. It's for a preview for the season. I did Aaron Wan-Bissaka, wrote a little bit about him, how he's improved, how I think he's got a bright future ahead of him still after a time when it looked like he was on the move, on the way out. It's for a good cause. It's for Macmillan, do a lot of work with cancer sufferers. Great cause. There's much better writers than me on there. You've got just like the top tier Manchester United writers and me sort of tagging along. Go and check it out. There's a link in the description. Like I say, good little pre-season season preview with some top writers. And my little contribution was on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Right, let's move on, shall we? Let's talk about this man, Sofyan. Talk to me, bro.
Let's go. United have made a midfield signing their next priority. It's all about Fiorentina's Sofyan Amrabat, apparently United's top target, largely due to his excellent displays for Morocco at the World Cup, where he was very, very impressive. Another player on their shortlist was Everton's Amadou Onana, though ultimately a move for the 21-year-old Belgium international was deemed too expensive. Amrabat's contract at Fiorentina expires next summer, and the 26-year-old is believed to be available for a cut price, 30 million quid. Bargain.
It's weird, this one, isn't it?
Well, if Fred and McTominay are going to go, you bring him in, don't you?
Yeah. I think with Sofyan Amrabat, we saw in the World Cup, right? I don't like buying players off the World Cup. I said that. If you're just buying someone off what they've done in the World Cup, you're on hiding to nothing. Because in the World Cup, you can play against League One players up to the knockouts. Yeah. So you can, you know what I mean? You've seen players that you go, oh, he looks really good in the World Cup.
Look at why England have done so well.
Yeah, yeah. And then you get into but you get him in the Premier League and these aren't any good. This kid obviously has something about him. He's worked with Eric Ten Hag before. The manager wants him. I don't want to sound like a broken record. The manager wants him. There's something in that. He's obviously a certain type of player that we need. So, and he's gettable. And also, yeah, I like this. I like the idea of bringing Sofyan Amrabat. I think if we get him in, if we get him and a defender to play, I think that's a very good window.
So do I.
I mean, I know there's lots of ifs there, but I think it is. So, listen, just quickly, two questions. Do you think we'll get him? Do you want him?
Yeah, and yeah. I actually do, yeah. I'm not going to sit here and pretend he's a player that I'm an absolute expert of. Like you say, I only watched him at the World Cup and he was impressive in the World Cup, but there are certain caveats that come with that. I think United clearly need that sort of energetic midfielder. If you're going to lose Fred and McTominay, you can't just go into the season 2 midfielders down without replacing them. I think Mainu will become one of them. He steps in and replaces one of them, and then you bring in Amrabat as well. I think that's a good window, and we're not talking about a player who's going to start every week unless there's a serious injury. You've also got Christian Eriksen there, who has now become a backup midfielder, despite being relatively decent for Man United. I always like Christian Eriksen. There's just a lot that Christian Eriksen doesn't do. He offers nothing defensively. You know, these are the negatives of Christian Eriksen. He's great at other things. These are great options to have at Man United next season, man. Yeah, no, they are indeed. Ethan, we've had a bit of feedback in the comments.
and I don't like to criticise or question your work live on the channel because you do a sterling job. A severe lack of puns has been the comment this evening. Now, I know you pride yourself, you and Alexi, pride yourselves on your puns. We've had some absolute worldies, some ones we can forget about, but we seem to have just turned into, I don't know, the Times, top target. I mean, Sofyan Amrabat, there's a few there. Do you know what I mean? Where is Alexi?
I'll see if I can think of one.
Alexi? Yeah, we've had some criticism of your, or questioning of your work as well. Lack of puns tonight, lads.
Sorry.
Yeah, you don't need to apologise to me. You need to apologise to the Stretford Paddock viewers. It's them you've let down. You've sort of built up this reputation. You've given the viewers something they expect. I've brought in Gaz Drinkwater, right? Managed to get him off the beeb because he does about 12 shows a day. Yeah, and you two just faxing it in with no puns. And unfortunately, and I apologise for this, I've only noticed at 10:15 because someone's flagged it up. What's going on? That was what Ethan just did. Right, I tell you what.
You know what it is? It's pun fatigue.
Pun fatigue. See, that's not even a pun. So that's annoyed me even more. Right, next week you're on.
Sofyan
Go on.
off the bat.
Sofyan off the bat.
I'm not having that. I'm not allowing that. I'm not allowing
No, Sofyan off the bat. He's just come up with there.
No.
Alexei, producer Ethan, anything?
If he leaves, then comes back.
Sofyan Amrabat. Now that was the only one I could think of.
If he leaves and comes
Amrabat.
back, Sofyan Amrabat. Right, okay, there's lots of ifs, and he'd have to leave at the age of 28 or something and come back at 32. Who knows? Ethan, anything to add?
I've updated the thumbnail accordingly.
He's Sofyan off the bat. Should we just go with it, yeah?
You know what? Let's go back to top target. Right, listen. Trust me, next week the puns will be back. Yeah, I will make sure we'll have puns coming out of our ears. Gaz Drinkwater, it is always a pleasure, my
Mate,
friend.
loved it, pal.
Do you know what I mean?
Loved it.
Time flies when you're having fun. That is absolutely flown by even because fly's not even
not a word.
No, sorry, I should know that. I went to school and everything, mate. Make sure you are subscribing. What did you say, Ed?
Nothing.
I went to grammar school, mate.
No, you didn't.
I went to Ermston Grammar. Yeah.
They don't know how to spell grammar in Ermston.
All the way through. I tell you what, pass me 11 plus, that's the only reason I went. So we'll be back tomorrow morning with the news. We'll also have a new show that is coming out tomorrow. So check that out. We're gonna have.
Is it Twarman?
No, it's not.
Ah!
Listen, nothing is certain on this channel other than the fact that Twarman will not be returning.
What's the point?
Hey, do you know what I mean? Sam, we are not burning down the village in order to save it, right? That's been Gaz Drinkwater. Go and check him out on Total Sport at BBC Radio Manchester. You don't have to be from Manchester to ring him.
No.
Go and, what's the number? Give him the number.
0800 218 2255. We're live every single weekday, 6 until 7 p.m. on BBC Radio Manchester. You can listen back to every show on BBC Sounds. We had a great show today as well with Rennie Mullenstein, former Manchester United first team coach. Really revealing. Actually revealed everything about like Moyes when he came in and he kicked them all out. He said a lot about the Glazers as well. So I imagine a lot of people will want to listen to that. Get the BBC Sounds app and go back and listen to today's show, Total Sport, on BBC Radio Manchester.
Love that. Thanks a lot, Gaz. Sorry, I got distracted there. Make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. That's been Gaz Drinkwater. I've been Jay Motty. This has been Transfers Live. Thanks for watching.